It's more new music for the month of July, and today we've got a brilliant album review to do for you, and it's from the 23rd studio album of this group. There's 13 tracks, 52 minutes, and it was released on the 19th of July. It's on the Ear Music and Edel record labels. It is Equals One by Deep Purple, an iconic group that are back with a brand new album that's been teased now for probably about 12 months. Let's look at the album cover to begin with. Man, this is so dull. It's like the Beatles' White Album, but somebody scribbled Deep Purple on it. I feel sure that somebody could have done a better job with this one. It's a bit of a disappointment. It does slightly catch your eye as you look at the album. It does catch your eye in sort of real life, but just on a picture that I'm showing for you now, it doesn't really do it any kind of justice. It's quite dull. It could have done better. However, open it up and the gatefold, and there's a very familiar picture there that really sort of brings the album to life. There's also a 92-page booklet, and it's been well produced with all information both about the band, the album itself, and some of the words in there. And it's out in various formats. It's out on double LP, CD, and a whole host of special releases. Let's have a look at the track listing. Here we go. 13 tracks on there. We're going to go through each of these one by one. I'll do like a little mini review for each of them. I'll summarise them. Then I'll give you a rating at the end. Once again, this may or may not change as I listen to the album more, but it's based on what I've heard so far. So who's in the group? Well, there's 3 cornerstones to Deep Purple that have remained now for quite some time. There's Ian Gillan, lead vocalist, writer. He's also done some backing vocals on this one. Roger Glover is on the bass. Some of the riffs that he plays here are amazing. We'll talk about them as we go through. Ian Pace on drums, a legend in his own lifetime, certainly. Then we get on to the, well, I was going to say newer members, but Don Airey is on keyboards, and he's been with the band since 2002, so he's not a newcomer at all. His keyboards are very strong indeed. But we do get on to a newcomer on the guitars, Simon McBride. He's previously been with Snake Armed and Sweet Savage, and he joined the band in 2022. Now, some of his work is absolutely electrifying. Bob Ezrin, he's continuing to produce the album. He's been with them now 5 or 6 albums. He's credited as playing tambourine on the opening track. We'll come to that in a moment. There is the Nashville Music Orchestra. They played on the track If I Were You. Patricia Shirley O'Coon and Camille Harrison do backing vocals. They did it on No Money to Burn and the closer Bleeding Obvious. Ian Pace quoted on this album as saying, it's symbolising the idea that in a world growing ever more complex, everything eventually simplifies down to a single, unified essence. Everything equals one. So that's really where the album title gets its name from. Gillan's also quoted that some of the songs just absolutely flowed from his pen and literally took no more than 10 minutes to write. How about that? My goodness. Let's go on track by track. We start off with a track called Show Me. Now, boy, this is an absolutely cracking all-action opener. There's a lot to like, and Gillan waxing lyrical on the vocals. It's catchy. It's got those lyrics that could be taken more than one way, and that's quite a feature of the album. There's an impressive keyboard and guitar give and go within this track. It's just a great opener. Next on the track is the suggestively titled A Bit on the Side. Now this was one that I absolutely nailed first off. I really took a shine to it. There's always one track on every album that really grabs you, and this was the one for me. The real Guns and Roses sounding to it. Now that don't mean that detrimental to either band, but there's a brilliant driving bass riff produced from Glover. There's some decent drumming in there. Again, the keys and the guitars complement each other absolutely brilliantly. The choice of the lady's name, Charlene, probably makes some of the rhyming quite easy to match, and it does sound a little cheesy on occasions, but it doesn't take anything away from an absolutely brilliant track. Sharpshooter's next, and this opens really with quite a prog feel to it. There's very much Smoke on the Water just in my mind's eye here. Surely not after all these years. There's a blistering guitar solo at around the 2-minute mark. Simon McBride is really a very talented guitarist, and he's a great asset to this band now he is a full member. One thing to look out for, there is quite an abrupt ending to it. It caught me out a couple of times. I like this one immensely. Next up, Portable Door. Now this was the first release from the album. There's that traditional sounding Hammond organ. It's one that I love so much. There's a black night feel to it. A really good track, and as I say, as the opener that was released from the album, it certainly got tongues wagging in no uncertain terms. Old Fangled Thing is next. That could be a description of me. Really a straight rocker. There's some lovely keyboard twirly sections in there, strong drumming, it thunders along. Gillan's voice really is very strong on all the tracks so far, no more than on this one as well. You know, he's advancing, is he into his 80s now? But that voice is still strong and he uses it well, and that's the key to this. And he doesn't go into areas where it perhaps finds him out a little bit, so it's clever use of his vocals. With that Hammond organ, there's a great 70s feel to it. There's clearly that change of pace before yet another McBride classic. Next up, If I Was You. Now this is a ballad, and one that Ian Pace named as his favourite off the album. For me, I don't think it fitted in too well with the album that we've experienced so far. Yes, there's that change of pace and we need a ballad or something a little bit different in there, but it really felt a little bit whiny, and as I was praising Gillan's voice for the last track, here I felt that he was found out a little bit, and he sang better on other tracks, no doubt about that. Really, the best bit of this was the outro, which really came as a bit of a surprise to me and was something that I enjoyed very much. Next up, we've got Pictures of You. Now, I've listened to this several times and I haven't really made my mind up about this one just yet. There's a lot of styles in there. Now, I've just been listening to it again before I recorded this to try and firm up that opinion, but I'm really struggling a little bit. I don't think the lyrics work on the song, and that might be the bit that's bothering me, so apologies for that. It's the first one that I've come across that I could possibly do without, and if you're perhaps thinking of shortening this album, then this might be one of the tracks that you left. However, there's a great 30-second outro to it there or thereabouts. Transitions really straight away into I'm Saying Nothing. It's a real slow rocker, this one, and as the title suggests, it's all really about keeping your mouth shut and not gossiping. A very good track, and again something I clicked with straight away, and I think it's my favourite so far on the album. The band solos throughout this one are again absolutely brilliant. It's such a feature throughout the album. These instrumental breaks, whether it's keys or guitars, a mixture of either, absolutely set this album off really first class. Lazy Sod next. This was released as a single, and it's another catchy track to it. There's a Fool for Your Loving by Whitesnake feel from it, from the 80s. It's just, it reminds me of that. There's the excellent Hammond organ sounds throughout again. You know that I love that. The lyrics are really spoken, sung in this blues rock feeling song. There's a great chorus to it, but that's alright because I'm a lazy sod. And I'm hot, oh yeah, don't mind me, because I'm a lazy sod You can like it or not. I'm guessing not. Now You're Talking is the next track. Frightened me a little bit because around about the 1 minute mark, there's quite a scream for the vocals. The solos are absolutely first class again in this track. Best summed up as a song about an orgy, but the lyrics describe it quite abstractly, but yeah, that's what it's about. Towards the end, there's quite a build-up of tension in the music as it flourishes and builds up, and then we know what that's signifying. No Money to Burn follows, and this is really quite a traditional rocker about having no money. It's as simple as that. It's got those blues rock vocals to it. Ian Gillan, once again, strong in this one. I like the keyboards here. They probably take the honours with regards to the solos. It's just a good track. There's really not a lot more to say about it. I'll Catch You is the other ballad on it. This one's quite a slow ballad. There's a lovely guitar intro. From what I can best feel of this track, it's about unrequited love. The lyrics say, Mother Nature's keeping her socks on. Father Time's going to be late. Ships at night are passing silently. And our love will have to wait. It's not really a favourite from this album, and once again, perhaps if you were thinking of something to drop, then this might be a contender. But it's in there, it's okay, it's just not my favourite. We finish with Bleeding Obvious. Now this is the longest track at just shy of 6 minutes. All the rest of the tracks are in that 3 and 4 minute bracket, so they're very radio friendly should they be required. This one a little bit longer, and there's a gorgeous proggy opening to the feel to this one. It's very good. There's also a great middle section in there. It paces changes up and then it changes down and tries to explain the album title a little bit. I've got some of the lyrics. I've forgotten where we started, because somewhere along the line that the salient point departed and parked itself in a back street in a lonely part of town. It was lost in the fog of time. You started so well, then went off on a trip around the world. Everywhere under the sun, if you ever return, we'll see if you've learned that it all adds up to one. Try to give some understanding to the album title, no doubt there. I think it probably saved the best till last. It's a very strong finish. So, what do I think? Look, it's not a masterpiece for the band, but I really thought it's a very good album, in my opinion. I've not really listened to the band over the years, so there will be people out there that are much better qualified to talk about Deep Purple. But I picked it up and I listened to it, and I found it very good. Now, there's not really much more you can ask from an album. Is it Deep Purple from the 70s? Well, in my opinion, once again, I think it's pretty close. Every piece on it has an excellent instrumental section, and it's clear that the introduction of Simon McBride into the band, his energy is infectious and is really appears to open up the rest of the band who are well in the 70s. Don Airey, I think he picks up and feeds off it. Both him and Simon have worked together in the past. Don's a little bit younger, in his 50s, but both of those two driving the band forward. But Simon really is the one for me. I'm going to say something strange here, but it does seem as if you are listening to the same track over and over again. Listen to the album and see if you understand why I've said that. All of the tracks are different, but it just feels like potentially you're listening to the same track over and over again. But listen, that's not a bad thing on this one. It really isn't. What do I score it? Well, I've probably played it 3 or 4 times. As I say, I picked it up, put it on, and I like it. Now, you can ask for no more, as I said there. I enjoy it, and I think that's all that matters, and as such, it's going to get an 8.5 from me. I think it's a very good album. That anybody that enjoys classic rock out there have that same feeling. Pick it up, put it on, get some headphones on and listen. And I'm absolutely convinced that you will enjoy it. Talking of enjoying albums, I'm going to put a link up onto the screen now for another video. This was also an album review I did quite recently for a Finnish band that were new to me and knocked my socks off. I'll put the link on there. Other than that, I'll see you next time.